Hello and welcome to the Ferrariist round 5 of the $150,000 3-car challenge. That's 3 cars, 1 SUV, 1 coupe, 1 sedan, 1 that's got to be older than 1990 and 1 that's newer than 2020. And the trick is there cannot be any replications. Anything that's been chosen in the past is off limits now. So I've got Andrew Lupton to my left. He and I text back and forth about buying this crap box or that crap box. He's the only other man that I know that has an equal affinity to shit cars like me, except his idea of a shit car is my 9 out of 10 car. So I think we're going to have an interesting discussion. Andrew, what is your first pick?
Okay, the first pick, 1990 or older.
Yeah.
I was basing it on some experience I had, and I had an 88 of this model, and I liked, but it was underpowered.
Okay.
And but at the time, that was a requirement for the racing series that I was looking to get into. So anyway, long story short, I've gone with the 1990 ZR1 Corvette.
ZR1.
Now you're saying, okay, why the 1990 ZR1? So we got 375 horsepower.
Yeah.
That's decent. Right? Decent.
Yeah.
You've got that iconic Corvette look. You've got some appreciation over time.
Yeah.
You've got, something you can take to the track, have fun, keep up with 70-80% of the cars there if you're a decent
that's generous,
driver, right?
That's generous, bro.
I guess. Okay. 60%.
Let's go with 7 or 8. Let's start there for 7 or 8%, and then we'll see where we get to. But I like your pick. I like that pick. And I think that car is dead cool. However, my issue with that car is the 1990 specifically, because in 91, they did a revamp, they did a refresh, and they improved the aesthetics, in my view, a little bit. But nonetheless, you can't argue with 32 valve V8, Lotus power, Lotus handling, and a great sound. And like you were saying off camera, that 2-key thing, that's ridiculous.
You've got 2 keys. You've got, as you said, the Lotus power. You've got, the other thing I was trying to just remember if it had that old space. Oh
yeah, it's got dash. That shitty speed. That Knight Rider dash where it's like, oh wow, you're going 70, Michael.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That is
my
awesome.
88 had the 88, and the problem with the 88 is it was underpowered.
Oh, 100%.
Fix that.
Yeah,
and it's just a car you can have fun with, not worry too much about. You're going to sell it. You're going to make money in the long term, and it's a shitbox, but it's not a shitbox.
Yeah, but the interesting thing about that car is it's an up nostalgia play. One of the problems with ZR1 in period was that it wasn't much faster than the LT one. Like that old Crossfire 245 horsepower one, that was a contemporary of the early ZR1, so the difference was significant. Yeah. But when they brought in that LT1, it was like a couple of ticks of a second off. So it was an interesting time, and I think that's why they didn't sell. Plus, they were double the price of the base car for 2 or 3 tenths of a second at 0 to 60. So an interesting time. So the good news is in posterity, that car has looked better and better, but in period, it was not selling well. So I think that's a good substrate for making a good play in terms of an investment, down the track. But having said that, what do you think one of these things is worth?
I checked out some Bring a Trailer, checked out some local listings for a 7 out of 10, something I wouldn't worry too much about.
So that's my 10 out of 10 Concours.
Yeah, for you, that's way off there.
Okay.
It's not rebuilt.
Well, that's already off my list. I'm not interested.
So you're looking at about 40 to 45 Canadian.
Okay. So your theory, and I've seen you do this with other cars with great success, is you seem to buy a car at the top of the market, and then the nice thing is it's comfortably easy to market and sell at the top of the market with some other cars that you've done that. And I think you're doing that here as well. Unfortunately, it does eat a fair bit of your budget, but I do like that pick. I don't know if I like it at 45 grand, maybe 4,500 personally, but
if you can find one at 4,500.
I could find the front end of one and then I could graft on something.
This is where you cheat with your buy-in price.
Oh man, I tell you that.
I can find you a better one for 10 grand.
Give me 6 months and 100 gold doubloons. I can find you literally anything.
I'll take 3.
All right. Challenge accepted.
So anyway, I think I've blown you out of the water, but go ahead.
Yes. Probably you have in retrospect. Okay, but I'm going to take it old school and I'm going to take a different track. And, the part of this exercise is a car that occupies space in your brain rent free. And this car has lived there my entire life. I think it's super cool. And it's probably because back in the day when I was a teenager, there was a really attractive blonde lady that had one down the street. And I was like, man. So, schoolboy mind, you're conflating car with other urges that you might have at that time. Nonetheless, it's a confusing period and it continues to this day. I want an R129 500 SL. I think they're dead sexy. They're probably slow. They're probably horrible to maintain, but they're so cheap. Bruno Sacco, for those you don't know, was the poster boy of the 1990s Mercedes design scene. And he knocked it out of the park with this one. Personally, I think it's a beautiful car. 32 valve, 4-cam V8 that made 322 horsepower. I mean, those were monstrous figures for the time, right? And, I think 0 to 60 in like mid fives, which is unbelievable.
Mid 5 minutes.
Well, if you were driving, but I'll tell you, if I pinned it, I could probably comfortably hit 7, I think, in that thing. No, I mean, I don't think it's not a rocket. It never will be. This is about cruising, but it had the hard top. And it was, German build quality. And importantly, it was the last year that did not use biodegradable, wiring harnesses. In the mid-90s, German manufacturers, BMW and Mercedes specifically, had this green initiative. So they made all these recyclable, they had this initiative that 70 to 80% of their cars had to be made of recyclable material. And in the case of this, a lot of the cars, that included the wiring harness. And when they thought at the time that the cars would last maybe 20 or 30 years, that's how long the harness is supposed to last. So now, 30 years later, these things are falling apart and have all kinds of electronic gremlins. But the 1990 did not. Importantly, this car is going to be cheap. It's going to save me a lot for my budget down the road. I think I can get a decent one for 10 to 15 grand. And it'll be an occasional used car. My significant other can drive it, and I'll comfortably lose this round, but I will lose it in style. I think that car is awesome.
Not off topic, but it just occurred to me that Mercedes is the equivalent of the Harley, today's Harley. Beautiful to look at. Harsh. Not fun to ride or drive in.
Okay.
So I used to have a beautiful, wide glide, soft tail Harley with the drag bars, all that. Loved looking at it. Loved listening to it. The actual riding experience was pretty
interesting.
Subpar.
Okay, but here's the thing. This is the joy of the 3-car garage, right? If this is your 1-car solution, I will grant you hands down, this is not the car because it's too limited. But for its specific purpose, aka sunny day, long distance drive with your wife, or out to dinner, somewhere where you don't want to be flashy or shouty. You don't want to wear your sweatpants and your Adidas, shorts that you're going to be, and your New Balance, if you're, this is something for an occasion, right?
All right. Well, I'm going to take my New Balance right into our next pick, where I'm also going to win, because I know I won that round. All right. So the next one, now again, you know me, I'm a manual lover. You're a manual lover. I'm a manual lover, but I think I'm more a manual lover.
That's hurtful. That's hurtful. You know how much the lengths I've gone.
Yeah, you do go to great lengths, whereas I just buy them off the shelf as a manual, or won't buy them at all. I need an SUV. I got to save some money. I want something that I know is a good machine that might even continue to appreciate. So I'm going with the 98 to 01 4Runner 5-speed manual with the optional rear locker for some off-roading at the side. I'm going to buy it for, let's say 20. I'm going to put $5,000 into it. I'm going to put the supercharger on it. So I'm in for 25. Yeah. So I got,
so at least it will be drivable at that moment.
Like I can at least pass the
it will be able to reach 60 at that point.
Hopefully, maybe. So we'll go with that. That way I can do some off-roading, have some fun. I'll pay 25 now and I'll sell it in 2 years for 30. So I've made a bit of money.
Okay, so this is an 01 4Runner. And, every time I picture an 01 4Runner, I picture a gold one with shiny, ugly alloys and somebody decidedly generic getting out of the passenger seat, or the driver's seat, I should say. That doesn't seem like you. I don't know.
I picture man bun getting out of the passenger seat.
Good call. Exactly. There's going to be a backpack somewhere.
Or a rooftop tent.
Yeah.
And that used to be me. And,
really?
There's still a piece of me that would enjoy that maybe once a year instead of once a month.
Fair.
it's definitely a niche, lifestyle, but it's just a nice vehicle. You can trust every day to start, go, make a bit of cash. Yeah, it's a good vehicle.
It's a strong pick, but not for the reasons that are compelling. See, that's the problem with it.
I had to burn something.
This is like a dad pick, right? Because it's like, son, you buy this car and you'll make money in 20 years, just like this RRSP that I want you to buy, right? So a Toyota's like that. And I think this car is great for that purpose. And I don't disagree. I think you're going to make money on this car, or at least break even, especially with the TRD kit. And I know you're going to find a high quality example somewhere. You're going to pay maybe a little over market right now, with the idea that over market premium now is going to be a multiplier down the road, and you're gonna reap some rewards from that. So I don't disagree with your approach. I've seen that you do it and you execute it well, but I can't get there for 25 grand. That's hard to accept. And from what would they come with, like 160 horsepower, and you're gonna get it to 210, and that's supposed to be fast? I mean, I see it, and I can see the appeal, and I know the Toyota files out there are probably salivating, thinking, "Oh man, I really like that car," but it doesn't get my mojo flowing. And I think I've got you beat here, but I do like that pick. So for my pick, I've got 10,000 into the Mercedes. I'm going to go now and spend another 40 grand more and leave myself. Now I'm going to spend 60 grand more, and still have enough for my third pick, which is probably a loser, unfortunately. But I'm going to go strong on this one. I'm going to get a 2015, 2016 G-Wagon with the supercharged engine, white. I'm going to lift it, put on a bull bar, and maybe go slightly douchey and do that G63 front end. Now, I know that there is a whole cadre of people driving these cars that I wouldn't really want to hang out with. Yet I still like the car. See, that's the dichotomy of this situation. The car is great, but the people who drive it are horrible. Not horrible, but just different than me, right?
You are too harsh on those people. They are not. They are not the Hummer, the Hummer. What's that Hummer truck thing? Terrible thing.
Yeah,
those people have their own reputation. I don't feel. See, this is where you and I disagree. I feel the G-Wagon people come across as sort of classy. They've done okay in life. Financially, they seem to be. It's a nice vehicle. It has some off-road chops. It's got that iconic click to the doors.
Yes, I love that click. I love that click.
I just, when I see someone jump out of that, I'm like, that guy or lady, she's got a bit of class. So we definitely see it differently.
Yeah. Well, okay. I see what you're saying. Look, my issue with anybody driving a car is, are you using it for its intended purpose? And I think if I take umbrage at a car and a person being not properly calibrated to each other, it's because you're driving a car that you're not going to use. And the G-Wagon, as you all know, was built as a military vehicle. It has some serious off-road credentials. So I think it's criminal to have one of those cars and never take it off-road. And granted, most of the time, I probably wouldn't take mine off-road either. But I sure as hell would want to. And if I could bear the financial penalty of inevitably something breaking, I would. And I think a G-Wagon with a bit of mud on it and some off-road credentials where you're actually using it for its intended purpose, I think that's cool. And anybody in that sort of arena, I respect, because I think that's a great overland build, or at least great substrate for one. And that would be my intended purpose. When I'm hating, and I'm being an ass, but I'm just hating on people who buy these things brand new for 250 grand, then get into the speculation game and get into the Designio interior and this and that, and get the Gucci stitching and all that sort of stuff that's available on these cars, and don't ever take it off road, which is a waste in my view. But if you buy that car new, be sure that 25 years down the road, I'm going to be knocking on your door and offering you 10% of value and then beating the crap out of it. That is my plan with that car and pretty much any other car. So I'm at 60 grand because I'm going to get, pretty decent one, plus 10 grand. So I'm 70. So I've still got 80 on my next pick. I'm going to give that one to me. You guys decide in the comments. Our interest here is figuring out what's available in your local market. What would you choose? How have we screwed this up? If you have a pick, or if you have good reason or any reason why our picks are stupid, which they probably are, let us know in the comments, because I'm curious. We don't do this for money. I don't do this for money. I do it for fun. Andrew does it for fun. We're here because we just enjoy it. So we'd love to know what you enjoy and what you would have picked instead. With that, let's move on to round 3.
Round 3. Okay. I'm afraid to know what yours is because I think you're going to beat me on this, but hear me out. Okay. So I've blown 75. Got 75 G's left.
Yeah. I'm
looking at the ZR1 and I'm looking at my 4Runner.
Yeah.
I'm pretty content, but I want to go out for a nice dinner. I want to take, a woman to a nice dinner. I want something I can park out front, not be ashamed of it. Maybe, even valet it or whatever. Got to be classy. But on the way there, I also want to be able to beat everything off the light.
Right.
Because I got to get there quick. I'm always late and I'm going to be late.
You better not choose the car I'm thinking. You better not have chosen this car.
Were we talking about it already?
No, we haven't, but
okay,
all right.
Then we're okay.
Okay.
So, and I'm not an electric car guy, but I am going with the Audi GT.
Ooh, okay. Oh, you've made it easy for me. Thank you.
Blacked out.
Okay.
Full black, murdered out. It's classy. Anyone who jumps in will think, it's a decent looking car. Yeah. It's quick. Yeah. It can be parked out front. Yeah. It's way better looking than the Taycan.
I agree on that point. I agree on that point.
And for 75 grand, I can get a pretty nice model. Probably still have some change left over to throw into the 4Runner.
100% you would.
So you probably get one, 55, 60?
57 grand. I was looking this morning at them, but not for the reason you think.
And it's hard for me to even say this because I was trying to think like 2020 or newer. Yeah. I'm like, what do I want that's a sedan?
It's constraining. It's difficult.
Especially if you're trying to find a manual, which basically doesn't exist in a 4-door.
Absolutely. You can't find that. And I was thinking along the same lines. So, full disclosure, I looked very hard at the e-tron GT. My wife and I had this discussion. She really wanted one because we thought it was great, looks wise. And then, I actually went pretty far down the rabbit hole. I drove a few and I, made some deals or tried to make some deals on here and there. And this was last year, 18 months ago. And at that time, they were $80,000. Okay. Mm-hmm. So that was the cheapest one with a hit was 86 grand. And I offered him 67 grand. And I said, look, this is what this car is going to be worth in a year. And he told me to take a hike. And I did. So then I went back to my wife and I said, look, you can buy this car, but then we're going to have to keep it forever because it's going to be worth nothing. Or you can buy yourself something else and hold. And thankfully she bought that something else. And that something else is behind us. And the good news is this 911 in behind us, we bought at 70 grand and we'll sell it at 80 grand. And at the time we sell it, we'll be able to buy 2 e-tron GTs. So the math has worked out. And that, when it comes to making a choice on a car, we've talked about this before. There are 3 components. There's how it makes you feel. There's the driving component. Like there's the aesthetics, there's the driving component, and then there's the resale. And I think that the Audi definitely knocks it out of the park on the aesthetic and, the feel the feel side of things. Having said that, the time that I drove one or two that I've driven, I've never had a sensation of, except with this car, I've never had the sensation of this is what it would be like to drive a washing machine or to operate an appliance intimately. That's how it felt. It was just, everything was automated. It was just kind of doing its thing. It was humming and whirring and making weird sounds or no sound. And all you heard was road noise. And I'm like, I don't know. I might just want to slip my wrists more than drive this car. I don't know. But thankfully I was able to talk my wife out of it. But I don't discount how beautiful they are. I think that Audi knocked it out of the park with that car. But the electrics discussion is a long discussion, which we're going to have at some point. But I think I think you made it easy for me. Thank you. It's very kind of you. You and I have a similar dilemma, right? We're both manual guys. And we both have to choose a 4-door. And I painted myself in a corner and I'm like, oh my God.
Actually want to be seen in.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So I'm like, oh man, what the hell am I going to do? So there are only 3 4-doors, 2020 plus that I would want to drive, to look at. Okay. So on that look at thing, I would say either a BMW or a Mercedes or a Maserati. Okay. I love those Q ports. I think they're beautiful. I would never ever buy one. So that rules out the Maserati. So now I've left with Mercedes and BMW. And I'm a BMW man, so I'm going to choose a 2020 BMW M5 CS. Last of the F90 style, beautiful car. Engine is crazy. I mean, these things, that engine is in all kinds of cars. It's in the new Defender Octra, for example. And in that trim, it makes 660 horsepower, I want to say. Yeah. And you can tune that thing to 800 horsepower if you so choose. But it's gentleman spec. it's like a brute in a suit. You can go to dinner or you can go to the track and you can flog the crap out of that thing and then drive it home and it'll never say anything to you. And the nice thing is those cars, when they come out of the factory, they're like 200 grand. And then, wow, 3 months later, they're 90 grand. So I'm going to take advantage of massive depreciation. And I've looked at these and you can get rare color specs. Like there's a burgundy that they make and a blue that they make that I really like.
Green.
There's that.
Our buddy Ash has the,
yes.
At least have the green one.
Yes.
What a color.
It's a great car. And I know he still regrets selling that. Well, as much as he can regret selling the car.
Why he doesn't regret selling that? Because it wasn't a manual. Which
yes.
is what,
yes.
My point is, you made me realize you could get that car, well, not the CS, in a manual. You could get rear wheel drive only, M5 in a manual, and in that green. That's that. Now that I've thought about it, you're right. That's the car.
I'll take the win, but I will say that I have had the car you're talking about. I had the last M5 manual they ever made. Okay. I had an F10 manual. I had it in Sepang gray, 6-speed manual, 560 horsepower in that trim. And I thought this is going to be my forever car. They made 20,000 of those cars, only 500 in manual. I found one of them and I thought, man, this is great. The day after I bought it, there was a lineup of 3 other guys who wanted to buy it. And I thought, I'll never need to sell this car. And then a year later, I actually smashed that car, but I was planning on selling it. And I'll tell you the reason why. BMW stopped developing their manual transmissions. That car and that manual were a horrible pairing. It was very soft. It was overpowered. It was undersprung. The damping on the rear end, it was just really squirrely. And the gear ratios weren't lined up well with the engine characteristics. You know, BMW phoned it in on that manual. And that was a car that actually turned me away from BMW. This was a 2013 car. I think the last year they made manual was 2013 or 2014.
No, this is it. The new M5, they've got the manual.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, kid you not. Like Ash's car, you could get that car.
No,
yes, you can.
Okay.
Or gentleman's bet.
Gentleman's bet?
Yeah.
You'll see it in the show notes.
Yeah.
I believe that they stopped making the manual in 2014. But my learned colleague here may have some information that I don't have. So we will make that available to you. Thank you for joining this time. I think I've walked away with it, but you guys let us know. But I will give you the ZR1. I thought about that car. That was a great episode. Let's do it again. Thanks so much.
Thanks.